Good evening. We will talk about the paranasal sinuses. Para means around. Para means around. And nasal means nose. So paranasal sinuses means the sinuses which are present around the nose. So in this picture you can see that we have got the four pair of paranasal sinuses. Those are the frontal air sinuses, the maxillary air sinuses, then the ethmoid air sinuses, and the hair sphenoidal air sinuses. The sinuses are the air-filled spaces present within the some bones around the nose. We have already seen that while we were discussing about the lateral wall of the nose, all the sinuses were opening into the lateral wall of the nose, particularly in the middle nasal concha. One was in the superior middle meatus, one in the superior meatus, and one in the inferior meatus. So all the sinuses are related to the nose, and they are situated around the nose, and they all open into the lateral wall of the nose. The sinuses are the frontal air sinuses. Then we have got the maxillary air sinuses. Then we have got the sphenoidal air sinuses and the ethmoidal air sinuses. All of them open into the lateral wall of the nose. All of them open into the lateral wall of the nose. And the function of sinus is to make the skull lighter. If this space is filled up with the bone, then our skull could have been much heavier. So to make the skull lighter, this space has been created by the God, and this space is known as the paranasal sinuses. Their other functions are to warm up and humidify the inspired air, and they also add resonance to the voice. When you speak in a space, in a hollow space, you can see over there is a resonance of the voice. So the voice is being resonant by presence of these maxillary air sinuses. But in cases of the infection, which is known as the sinusitis, the voice is being altered. The sinuses sizes are rudimentary or even absent at the time of the birth, but they grow rapidly, and at the age of the 6 to 7 year. At the age of 6 to 7 year, that is at the time of eruption of the permanent teeth. And second, after the puberty. These are the two times where it grows rapidly. From birth to adult life, the growth is due to the enlargement of the bone. The bone enlarges, and so the sinuses get enlarged. But in the older age, the sinuses get enlarged due to the resorption of the bone. See, if this is the wall of any one cavity, so this bone get reabsorbed, and so the space get larger. So the space become larger due to the resorption of the surrounding cancellous bone. Now we will discuss individually the different sinuses. So number one, the frontal air sinuses. So the frontal air sinuses, they are two in number, situated just deep to the superciliary arches. Here we have got the superciliary. This is the superciliary arches. This is the superciliary arch, and it is situated just deep. This is the superciliary arch here, and it is situated deep to the superciliary arch. In the lateral view, if you can see in sagittal section, then you can see that this is, here we have got the superciliary arch, and here we have got the frontal air sinuses. So it is situated deep to the front superciliary arch, number one, and secondly, that it extends upward above the medial end of the eyebrow. This is the medial end of the eyebrow and this is the lateral end of the eyebrow. So this extend upward from the medial end of the eyebrow. This is the medial end of the eyebrow. This is the medial end and this is the lateral end. So it extends from upward from the medial end of the eyebrow and backward into the medial part of the roof of the orbit. So this is the orbit. This is the orbit. This is the orbit, and it extend backward into the roof of the orbit. So this is the front. This is the front view, and this extend backward into the. It extend backward. So here we have got the eye over here, and it extend backward. It extend backward over the medial part of the roof of the orbit. Now where it opens? It opens. We already know that this opens into the. It opens into the middle meatus. It opens into the middle meatus. It opens into the middle meatus. This is the hiatus semilunaris, and here we have got the opening of the frontal air sinuses. So it opens either through the infundibulum or through the frontonasal duct. Through the frontonasal duct. The duct is over there, and so it opens directly into the frontal air sinuses. So the opening of the frontal air sinuses is in the anterior-most part of the hiatus semilunaris in the middle meatus. Anterior-most part of the hiatus semilunaris in the middle meatus. So right and left frontal air sinuses are usually not same. One is bigger, one is smaller. Here you can see also one is larger, one is bigger, one is smaller, and sometimes one may be absent. The average, the height, then the width, and anteroposterior depth. Anteroposterior depth, height, width, and AP depth is almost 2.5 centimeter. Almost 2.5 centimeter. They are rudimentary at the birth, but they are well developed at the age of the 7 year. And its arterial supply is superior orbital artery, and venous drainage is superior orbital artery and superior ophthalmic vein, and nerve supply is supraorbital nerve. So this is about the frontal air sinuses. So frontal air sinus, they are two in number, one on each side, situated just behind the superciliary arches. It extends upward at the medial end of the eyebrow and backward just at the medial end of the roof of the orbit. And it opens into the anterior end of the hiatus semilunaris. Now next we have got the maxillary air sinuses. Now next we have got the maxillary air sinuses. The maxillary air sinuses lie in the body of the maxilla. It lie in the body of the maxilla. See this one. See this is the maxillary air sinuses. This lie in the body of the maxilla. It lie in the body. This is the orbit. This is crista galli. This is crista galli. And it is the largest of all the paranasal sinuses. Among all the 4 paranasal sinuses, this is the largest one, and it is pyramidal in shape. As you can see over here, it is pyramidal in shape, with its base lying towards the lateral wall of the nose or forming the lateral wall of the nose, and its apex lies toward the zygomatic arch. Apex lies toward the toward the laterally in the zygomatic process of the maxilla. Now it opens into the hiatus semilunaris. It opens into the hiatus semilunaris. Just at the center, it has got a separate opening, and this is at the base of the hiatus, and in the center of the hiatus semilunaris, it has got a opening, and this opening is near the roof of the medullary sinus. If this is the medullary sinus, so this opening is situated at the roof of the medullary sinus. It is not situated at the base, it is situated at the roof of the medullary sinus. Now, in the isolated maxillary air sinuses, this dotted line is the lining of the medullary sinus. This is the big opening. This is a big opening. If we see in the isolated maxilla bone that this is a big hole. Now this big hole is converted into a small opening by means of few bones that from above. It is the uncinate process of the ethmoid bone. So this one is the uncinate process of the ethmoid bone. This is the uncinate process of ethmoid bone. This is the ethmoid bone. This is superior meatus. This is the middle meatus, and so this is this portion. This is the part of the ethmoid bone. So this process is the uncinate process of the ethmoid bone. Uncinate process of ethmoid bone. Now this is from above. This is from above. Now from below, we know that just below the middle nasal concha we have got the inferior nasal concha. So the inferior nasal concha, from the below, it diminishes the sizes of the maxillary sinuses. Now from above we have got another bone, that is the lacrimal bone. This is the lacrimal bone. So the lacrimal bone and uncinate process of the maxilla from above. Below we have got the inferior nasal concha, and from behind we have got the perpendicular plate of the palatine bone. As we know that the basic framework of the lateral wall of nose is being formed by the medial surface of the body of the maxilla, then the perpendicular palatine bone and the medial pterygoid plate. So it is the perpendicular plate of palatine bone which also convert the greater palatine groove into the greater palatine canal. So this perpendicular plate of palatine bone from the behind, so the bigger maxillary sinus is converted into a small opening by means of, from above, which is the lacrimal bone and uncinate process of the ethmoid bone, from below by the inferior nasal concha, and from behind by the perpendicular plate of the palatine bone. Now the sinus size is variable. Its average height is 3.5 centimeter. Its width is about 2.5 centimeter, and AP diameter is 3.5 centimeter. So it is larger than any other paranasal sinuses. Now its roof is formed by this is the maxillary sinuses. The roof is formed by floor of the orbit. Floor of the orbit forms the roof of the maxillary air sinuses, and as we know that in the floor of the orbit there is a groove known as the infraorbital groove, through which passes the infraorbital nerve and the artery. So this the floor of the orbit forms the roof of the maxillary air sinuses. Its floor is formed by the alveolar process of the maxilla. So this one is the alveolar process. This is the bone, this is the tooth, and this is the alveolar process of the maxilla. This is the hard palate. This is the hard palate over here, and here we have got the alveolar process. Tooth you can see over there. So the alveolar process forms the maxilla itself. The one process of the maxilla is the alveolar process. The lower process of maxilla is the alveolar process, which bear the socket for the tooth. So its floor is being formed by the alveolar process, and this lie 1 centimeter above the 1 centimeter below the level of the floor of the nose. The floor of the nose, where the floor of the nose ends, it lie 1 centimeter below the floor of the nose, and the labor correspond to the lower border of ala of the nose. Lower border of the ala of the nose. This is the ala of the nose. This one is the ala of the nose. Here we have got the ala of the nose. This one is known as the ala of the nose. So it's lie one at the level of the lower border of ala of the nose. Now the maxillary sinus is the first sinus to develop, and the arterial supply is the facial artery. The number 1 is the facial artery. Number 2 is infraorbital artery. Infraorbital artery because its roof is being marked by the floor of the orbit, and where we have got the infraorbital groove through which passes the infraorbital nerve and the vessel. So infraorbital nerve and artery and greater palatine artery. Greater palatine artery. It is also very close to this one because you see over there that greater palatine. This is the greater palatine groove, and the greater palatine, and through the this groove is converted into canal by perpendicular palatine bone, and here we have got a canal through which passes the greater palatine nerve and the vessels, and so the greater palatine artery also supply the maxillary sinuses, and venous sinus is facial vein and pterygoid plexus of vein. A nerve supply by posterior superior alveolar branch from the maxillary nerve, and anterior and middle superior alveolar branch from the infraorbital nerve. We all know that in the maxillary sinuses, all the 3 subalveolar nerves enters into the maxillary sinus to supply all the upper tooth by means of superior alveolar artery. By means of posterior superior alveolar artery, by means of middle superior alveolar artery, and by means of anterior superior alveolar artery. It supply all the upper tooth, and all the 3 alveolar nerves are the branches of the maxillary nerve. The anterior and the middle superior alveolar are branches of the infraorbital nerve, which in turn is a branch of the maxillary nerve. And the posterior superior alveolar nerve is a direct branch from the maxillary nerve. So this is all about the maxillary air sinuses. This is the most important air sinuses is the maxillary sinuses. The question in the university, if question comes for, then they will ask you about the maxillary air to describe in detail about the maxillary air sinuses. So now the third one is the sphenoidal air sinuses. Sphenoidal air sinuses. So this is the sphenoidal air sinuses situated in the body of the sphenoid bone. Situated in the body of the sphenoid bone. Situated in the body of the sphenoid bone, they are right and left. Body is single. The body is single. This is the body, and there is a partition over here, and on the both the side we have got the sphenoidal air sinuses. On the both the side we have got the sphenoid. It is not that we have got the 2 bodies of the sphenoid bone. The sphenoid bone is having single body with 2 greater wing of the sphenoid bone and 2 lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. Its shape is like that. So it is a single bone. This body is a single one, and it is divided by a partition. With this partition, we have got the sphenoidal air sinus on the other side. They are usually unequal in size, and this opens into the see, this is the sphenoid bone and this is the ethmoid bone. This space is known as sphenoethmoidal recess. We have discussed while we were talking about the lateral wall of the nose. So this space is known as sphenoethmoidal recess, and in this space, this sphenoidal air sinus is open. So sphenoidal air sinuses opens into the sphenoethmoidal recess. Each sinus is related to this sinus is related to the optic chiasma. As we all know that here we have got the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone, and at the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone we have got the optic canal, and through which passes the optic nerve, and here we have got the optic chiasma over here. So this is related to this, and this space is meant for lodging the hypophyseal cerebri. So this is and this is also related to the hypophyseal cerebri. Laterally to the internal carotid artery and cavernous sinus, we all know that the body of the sphenoid bone, when we see it from the middle cranial fossa, on the either side we have got the cavernous sinuses, the space for the internal carotid artery and the cavernous sinuses, and arterial supply by the posterior ethmoidal and internal carotid artery, supplied by the posterior ethmoidal and internal carotid artery. Venous drainage by pterygoid, venous plexus and cavernous sinuses, and nerve supply by posterior ethmoidal nerve and orbital branch of the pterygopalatine ganglion. Posterior ethmoidal nerve and orbital branch of the pterygopalatine ganglion. Now we are left with the ethmoidal air sinuses. Ethmoidal air sinuses are numerous. They are many. They have been grouped into three. One is called the anterior, other is called the middle, and third one is called posterior. So they have been grouped into anterior, middle and posterior. So this is the anterior, this is the middle, and this is the posterior group of the anterior ethmoidal air sinuses. Ethmoidal air sinuses, they are completed from above by the orbital plate of the frontal bone. See this one. This is the ethmoidal air sinuses, and this is completed over by the orbital plate of the frontal bone. Frontal bone of the frontal bone, it has got a process known as the orbital process. So the frontal bone, orbital process of the frontal bone, from behind by the sphenoidal concha. This is the sphenoidal bone. So sphenoidal concha over here. Sphenoidal concha is complete from the behind. And the orbital process of the this is the palatine bone, and the process which goes towards the eye, one process goes towards the eye, and this process is the orbital process of the palatine bone. So orbital process of the palatine bone. Anteriorly by the lacrimal bone, anteriorly by the here we have got the lacrimal bone over here. So anteriorly it is the lacrimal bone. So this is completed by the orbital process of the palatine bone and sphenoidal concha from behind. Above by the frontal orbital process of the frontal bone, anteriorly by the lacrimal bone. So this completes the uncompleted ethmoidal air sinuses, and the sinuses are now divided into the anterior, middle, and posterior group of ethmoidal air sinuses. In anterior ethmoidal sinuses, they are 1 to 11 in number. They are 1 to 11 in number. Anterior are 1 to 11 in number. This open into the, where it opens? It opens into the, with the frontal air sinuses, into the hiatus semilunaris, either through the infundibulum or with the frontal nasal sinuses. So this opens into the anterior part of the hiatus semilunaris, supplied by the anterior ethmoidal nerve and the vessels. The middle ethmoidal air sinuses, these middle ethmoidal air sinuses, they are 1 to 7 in number, 1 to 7 in number, and it opens into the this opens into the bulla ethmoidalis, and this elevation which is just above the hiatus semilunaris, this is for the opening of the middle ethmoidal air sinuses. So this opens into the bulla ethmoidalis, and finally we are left with the posterior ethmoidal air sinuses. And these posterior ethmoidal air sinuses, they are again 1 to 7 in number. It's also 1 to 7 in number. So mostly it is the anterior ethmoidal sinuses which are most in number. They are 1 to 11 in number, and this posterior ethmoidal air sinuses, this opens into the superior meatus. This opens into the superior meatus through a separate opening, and this opening is for the posterior ethmoidal sinuses, supplied by the posterior ethmoidal nerve and the vessels. And so this is all about the paranasal sinuses. Thank you.